Oh, okay. Wow, 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 wow. What a deep, impactful episode. We recorded this a few days ago, and quite frankly, I am still digesting it because it felt so deep, profound, powerful. There's favorite moments that I'm still relishing in, and my beautiful guest and I have been texting about, like, yeah, I love this. This was awesome. This was deeply profound. I think you're going to love this week's episode. Hello, hello, and welcome to the Weeder Life podcast. I'm your host, Erica Weederlight, and I am the CEO and founder of We the Light. I help humans who feel inadequate, broken, self-conscious, and shamed around their sexuality to reclaim their aliveness, their power, and to have a renewed relationship to pleasure while preparing themselves to feel hella confident to date others and themselves. AKA, I'm guiding people to live their hashtag best lives. I have to give you a fair warning. I do unfortunately swear like a drunken sailor, so if you do have little ones by you, just be sure to pop in some earbuds. All right, friends, let's buckle up and let's rock it to this week's episode. So, without further ado, I introduce my great friend, Yelena Krepper. Yelena! She is, in my opinion, in such high integrity, and you'll hear me ravish on and on about her. She's fabulous. She deeply embodies this work. She's potent. Her magic is real, and she's just fucking fabulous. So we're going to get to Yelena in just a second, but a little bit about her is Yelena is obsessed with all things play, pleasure, possibility, magic, communication, and fun. Her clients lovingly call her the communication ninja. Her belief is that you can do powerful, magical, and potent work and this deep path to transformation and healing through deep pleasure, fun, radiance, and laughter. She says, no, no, no to the pain. She says, that's awful. No, thank you. Life is too short to not spend it fully and laughing as often as possible. And a little fun fact about her is friends, clients, she even describes herself as she's equal parts Energizer Bunny and Buddhist monk. I could go on, but without further ado, my great friend and someone that I'm deeply inspired by day after day, Yelena. Hi, baby. I'm literally so psyched to have you and like the juice that is going to be extracted from this call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like that expensive, fresh squeezed luxury.
It's...
None of this from concentrate shit.
Oh my God. I am so obsessed with you. Seriously. Thank you for coming on today. And before we get into it, I just want to like frame us. You know, like I want to frame us. I want to tell everyone a little bit of our backstory and our friendship. But before we do, I was going to tell you this before we hit record, and I was like, wait, no, let me share this. I want to celebrate us, point blank. But celebrate us, how we just so beautifully took care of ourselves. That in the past, I'm like, let me just fucking record. You know what I mean? Like, let me go into it. And I just like celebrate both of us in community that was like, yeah, like I need to go get my tea. And I was like, I actually feel a little like, I need a dance break. And I celebrate that we both spoke for our needs, yes, each other's other needs. Like before we get into the juice, like I just want to celebrate, and we'll probably talk about that with your work with communication, how fucking awesome that felt in community. And that was just, I just wanted to highlight that.
Yeah. And to underline it for a moment, it's so important to just take a second, right? To just check in, like, what do I need right now? And we're not trained to do that. And yet, like, when you can take a moment, and for me, like, I know tea is just nourishing for many reasons for my nervous system, right? And it just brings me a lot of pleasure. So I love having it there, should I want it, right? For you, dropping into your body, you know, like I teach self-trance with music as well. We can get into that later, but like, what's really phenomenal is when we do that for ourselves, we model it for the people in our lives and we make it safe for them to speak and advocate for their needs as well. And it's such a gift more than we even know. And it just starts with like, what do I need right now? And then it snowballs into something really phenomenal. So I love that we both, use the tools that we have to start and anchor from a very grounded, resourced place, which will benefit everybody listening, right? Like, please, if you need to take a pause before you listen to the rest of the conversation, like, what do you need right now? Do you need a bio break? Do you need to look at some sunshine? Like, stretch, whatever. Please take this as a permission slip to absolutely take care of yourself. And the conversation will be there whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow, not me crying 4 seconds into the podcast. I'm like, not me.
Yes, I speak and I leak. It's like my favorite superpower. And so I guarantee you I will probably be bawling 50 shades of what the hell, and it'll be great.
I'm like, oh, not me wiping a tear off my microphone. Like, that is so beautiful. And like, I just feel very grateful, and we'll kind of sashay into how we met. Like, I'm so grateful for all my relationships in my life, but especially ones where we could share this. And I think that's the importance of our work, that people have a safe space to practice these things. Like, I am so blessed with so many great friends, and not that it's just not the common, how do I say, technology or communication. So the fact that we could feel so safe with one another, I just am really grateful, and it just makes me grateful that we do this work and that we create these spaces for this to be normalized.
Exactly. It's so needed, and we're not taught. We're taught many things like algebra. I don't know about you. I haven't used squat of that.
Oh, no.
And also necessary if you're going into a field in mathematics. God bless, right?
Yeah.
But I think my biggest gripe is that we're literally in school systems. It's structured in a way where many very crucial life skills, emotional intelligence skills, right? Like communication skills, interpersonal communication, things that will make or break our lives, we're just not taught. And so it's delicious when we have relationships that it is safe to have it be a playground for learning these skills and practicing them. And yeah, it's so good.
It's so good. And I like I said, I already have the visions coming back to me. I feel like Celine Dion. It's all coming back. But it's all coming back, and I'm so grateful.
With my dragon squirt mat.
It's all, and I imagine us. So for all the friends listening in, so we were very privileged and blessed that we did this amazing. It felt like longer than a year, but like year-ish, year and a half, 2 years, whatever.
Forever.
Yeah, forever program, sex, love, and relationship training, and we had the privilege of an in-person retreat in Mexico, and by God's gift, we were paired as roommates, and thank God, honestly, thank God, because I know we talked about this post, but like, what a privilege, and I'm so grateful that. In those containers, you saw me at my absolute hellish worst, breaking down. Like, it's so beautiful to still be loved, appreciated through all of it. So I think, and I know we talked about this in depth, but like, I thank you so much for lovingly holding me through like every fucking flavor that was up during a very triggering retreat, because we're talking about triggering topics.
Yeah, self-work, all of that, turn your attention inward. That should come with a fucking warning label. Like, do at your own risk, right? And good thing. More of us need to be doing that internal work. But yeah, it was like what was really beautiful for me. So just to give everyone listening a bit of context, so we completed the Layla Martin Sex, Love, and Relationship Coaching program, which is now the Vita methodology. It's somatic, scientific based, tantric based. It's a really phenomenal program. Layla Martin is a genius and really, really phenomenal. And to be in that program with her and learning from her and these beautiful humans, all in different flavors of magic. I couldn't have manifested a better roommate. I didn't even know what to ask for, and the universe was like, you get the room with the best view, and you literally get the most magical human being on the planet to share a room with. And I never met you before, right? And then all of a sudden, you had this heart, soul, this laugh that like penetrated my heart to my bones and just brought me so much joy when I'm cracking open and moving thousands of things within my body, my heart, my experience. And it was so sweet. I swear I didn't know that I could give myself this gift. And clearly the universe had amazing plans for us. So, and then what is it? That was in May of 2019, and here we are,
And
all
here we
this
are.
time later, having, you know, even if we don't talk every day, like that,
Right.
that has bonded us forever.
It's true. And how cool is it? I want to talk about so many things, but like how cool is it that our relationship to pleasure, to magic, to play has evolved so vastly? Like how cool is it? I geek out on this that like for me, when I was introed into this work, I was like, pleasure, and like thought it was like just boas. And I'm consistently pushed up against, yep, like
What it takes to get to the pleasure portals.
yeah, and I'm like, shit, so like I'm celebrating 2019 us at like, you got it, babies. Like you're gonna
Oh,
push
yeah.
so many fucking edges, and it is going to be
Magnanimous.
yeah, yeah, like how badass. And I want to get into that because that's a big fucking question for me, but something my brain wants to pop backwards about framing you.
Mm.
That I could literally, quite frankly, talk the whole podcast episode how amazing and
Yes, please.
fabulous.
You are hired
You're
as
like,
my
all
personal
right.
PR.
Like, let's
Yes,
do it.
please. The job you didn't know you wanted.
But and I think I've said this to you recently and when we last chatted. I'm like, I just really commend you about how, and we're full nuanced humans. We don't know everything that's going on in someone's brain and their body and all the things, but like
Mm-hmm.
from what I know, I am in awe that I always say this word and I fucking hate it, but like that you fight for this work. And I
Mm-hmm.
see you, like, we all had the fucking resistances to it.
Whew.
Yeah, and I see you being like, okay, this is resistant, but like, yes, I'm gonna regulate. Yes, I'm gonna keep bringing my magic. And I see you
Mm-hmm.
like a fucking phoenix through the fire, being like,
Mm-hmm.
yep, okay. And like, not in a like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going through the fire, but like in a way of like, I'm sexily and like hip circling my way through the motherfucking fire. And I just wanna like, I really am so impressed that you continuously come back to that.
Mm. Thank you. I'm just going to take a moment to just receive that.
Yeah.
Oh, and I say that and I do that and I also want to model this for everybody listening, and it's going to make me cry. So FYI, um, why this is so important, doing this with people in your life and really genuinely I'm going to take a moment to just share a couple things here because I think it's a very teachable, important moment. Um, so most of us are shit with receiving. We're shit with receiving compliments. We're shit for many reasons, right? Conditioning and this and that and social constructs and cultural whatever, right? Um, we are generally very, very shit at letting the love in. And so, first of all, thank you.
Of course.
I'm just going to take a second to just express my profound gratitude for you as a being and for everything, your warm reflections, because that really means a lot. And the other things I would like to say is that I practice something, I think now more in my life, super pivotal, but I didn't realize it when I first decided it. And it can be as simple, I live in New York generally, and you're on the train, on the subway, and you see somebody that has something cool or a cool watch or a cool outfit or a cool whatever, right? And we say things very often in our heads. Oh, blah, 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 that's amazing, right? But then it doesn't leave our lips to be in communication with that other person, right? So what is that compliment doing in your head? It's not serving anyone. And so I practice spitting it out and telling people, hey, I'm going to say this now because if I don't, I will never say it and it doesn't serve me. So you just look fabulous. You look radiant. You look luminous. You look playful. You look just so empowered, whatever that stuff is. And I've noticed when I play that game, it not only sources me in the most incredible way that I got to offer this. So who I am as the giver of this gift is profound. And the gift is seeing them receive it.
Mm.
And not everybody, it's not, everybody reacts differently. And when they catch on that it is really genuine, you can see them melt a little. And you never know where they are in their journey, in their day, in their week, in their life. Like, why not? If we have that capacity, why not do that thing? Um, and then what made me cry a moment ago is, and it's something I teach. I teach a program and a workshop around this to overcome it. But what's really profound is when someone gives us a compliment, very often we say, oh, no, it's nothing. So we downplay it. Or, oh, no, 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 it's all you, or whatever. We deflect it back, or any of those crazy shit that we think is, our automatic default. It's devastating because then we don't actually let the magic penetrate. And then most of us have imposter syndrome and, are disconnected from our self-worth. And so it's this shame spiral of shit. And it's devastating because then we're not embodying our magic and what's meant to be out in the world. And it's as simple as that. And just to preface it here, because it's one of the things that I have seen and experienced in our retreat, actually, to bring to how we met. Layla Martin had this beautiful exercise on compliments, right? How to give them and receive them, and I've modified it. And so I'll give her credit where credit is due. But the modification that I made intensifies it. However, it allows us to crack the facade, to crack the huge walls that we put up to protect ourselves. And when you receive that much love, it's quite debilitating in the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to pretend, right?
Yep, it's true.
And yet, when it's like almost 10 minutes of it, in the first 2 minutes, you're just like, I'm dying, freaking out on all cylinders. And then you're getting fire hosed in a sweet way. So it's all, consent, things like that. It's like not torture, right? But like the person giving the compliments is digging for gold, right? They're really like looking for where and how can they reflect back this magic that is you. And then after about 2 minutes, most people, it shatters. And they end up finally letting it in, and then they receive about 30 minutes, about 20 to 30 minutes of just so much love. You never walk out the same after. So I call the workshop pussy worship or cock worship, call it what you want, whatever. But in reality, it's a communication exercise where really it gives us a chance to receive in a profound way and shatter what doesn't serve us. But as the giver, I think my favorite was a man who'd, been leading so many workshops, things like that. And he said to me, he's like, this changed my life. I said, what? Tell me more. And he goes, I didn't know I had so much love to give.
Oh.
Right? Like letting
Yeah.
that sink in. Like, who are we on the other side of getting to know ourselves as beings that are that generous?
Mm.
Right? And then the receiving, because most of the time, and I'm going to you've segued us into a beautiful part of the conversation that I think most of us really, really, really need the reminder of. When someone offers us help, we're like, no, 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 I got it. But then we do that enough, so we train them that we're self-sufficient, and then we bitch and moan, oh my God, nobody helps me. Like, what? Like,
Right.
you literally just train them that don't do that. And yet, clearly, right, like you still have a profound need. And so it perpetrates this imbalance and resentment.
Yeah.
And the easiest thing to do, which is also the hardest thing to do, is to be in communication,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, it's all a part of it. And so I really thank you for modeling this profound generosity in your friendships, your loverships, your partnerships, your beloveds. It gets to be safe to love on people
Mm.
and to be loved.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
gets to be safe. It gets to be super delicious.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to highlight you fucking nailed it because, and especially in our work,
Hmm.
the self love, we still will have our, this is totally so fucking in the moment. An hour before this call, I had one of the calls that we do, one of the works, that we do with pleasure and all that, and an exercise similar. This is a sidebar. I noticed where I had barriers, where I had
Mm.
my receiving limitations, right? Like for me, the first few minutes, I was like, ooh, this is like juice. Like I was like, I am thirsty. And I was like, and then I noticed, okay, that's too much. We hit our limit. So that was interesting. But I
Hmm.
noticed, like you said, like the fucking genius frame of we're not even taught like to give those, like it doesn't feel really safe to give those compliments. Like so that is such a powerful, that is so fucking powerful. And I just really want to, like, if I had a Sharpie or a pen, I would underline that like we're getting better a little bit in society of
Mm.
receiving, which is like
Mm.
hot, but there is something with giving sometimes feels unsafe too. What if they receive it bad? What if right?
Yeah, it's curious to add to it for a quick moment. The interesting world of it is, so I've been studying communication for about 10 years, and I legitimately actually didn't know how to communicate before I started to study it. Fun fact, my beloved at the time, his mom said to me, I was like, so how was it? Like what happened to what was, um, what was I like before? She's like, before you would try to communicate. You would try so hard and you just couldn't. I was like, okay, well, what about after I did the course? She's like, oh, you learned how to communicate. It was great.
Huh.
Hysterical, right? But that simple. And so why I say that, why I premise that is because I want to make it clear that everyone has access to this,
Mm,
that possibility. You just gotta actually choose it and take the inspired action that is sourced by that choice. And I say these
yes.
words very clearly, so I'd like to underline it for people, the sweet beloveds who are listening. It is a choice. Living every day is a choice. Loving ourselves and others is a choice. The words that we say, it all matters. And what happens to most of us, why I brought this up is why if you mind map where people go, giving the compliment is tender because what if they receive it and they reject the compliment, which we internalize as they will reject us. And most of us are, have in some way, shape, or form something around self-worth. And so it becomes this, God forbid, and we're already all crisis fatigued and all of that stuff with everything is going on and doing our best to just function on a daily basis, let alone perform for work, family, ourselves, our beloveds, whatever. So I'm premising that in a very clear, conscious manner to give everyone at home an opportunity to bring radical forgiveness to themselves in their process and to be clear that as much as we would love for this to be intuitive, it often isn't.
Mm.
And there's a thing you can do about it, such that you
Yes.
can really elevate the experience of your day-to-day conversations, your pleasure, your life, your partnerships, you know.
Yeah. I'm like, because I'm such I'll say I'm such a hoe for pleasure, but I guess I
I
am.
mean, hello,
Yeah,
do you, boo?
because I'm like, I'm feeling the pulse, and I'm like, hold on, like, it's not ready yet. It's not ready. It's baking. So before we get to that, because I'm like, oh, we're just gonna swim in that. Can you talk about? Well, actually, oh, I'm just so entranced with the pleasure. Okay, pleasure, sure, we'll get to that. I really am also so consistently blown away with you. Not that like we're messy, right? Like we have all the different variety and all the things, and I don't want to say this from a place, so I'm putting a little disclaimer. But I really love how you have a really nice, clean is has its shit, but like clean relationship with with energy and
Mm,
consciousness. Like, and I think
mm,
that's for me. You feel so clean, and I don't mean that from like a
mm.
medical what you know what I'm saying. Like
Yeah, yeah,
you're
I
so
get it.
crisp with like I'm
Mm.
communicating, or here is my structure for pleasure. Here, like in a sexy way. Here's my structure
Yeah.
for play. Like it's just crisp. It's intentional. It just feels like it just feels good. And I'm curious for you, like how have you created slash comma really? How do you consistently stay in that integrity, that intentionality? Like how do you keep coming back, because we're human, like we're supposed to waver, like that's cool, but like how do you say, like lovingly say, oh okay, I'm a little wavery, and how do you come back to that like energetic alignment, that consciousness? Like how do you do that within your own life?
First of all, again, thank you for your reflection. Really, thank you, thank you, thank you. It is so beautiful to be witnessed and reflected. Um, do you want the real, like,
Fuck yeah.
unfiltered part of it?
Yeah, let's go there.
So here's the truth. I think what keeps me really grounded and connected to consciousness and life in a really particular way is how intimate I am with death.
Mm,
This is a no sugarcoat type of part of it.
yeah.
This July will be 12 years that my beloved passed away. He was brilliant and a perfectly imperfect human being. And I was a 23-year-old idiot when we were together who was figuring it out and had a lot of love to give and a lot of growth to still happen. And he was pure magic. And we learned a lot. And um, his passing, his name was Donatus. And his mom is a sweetheart, his two sisters. I'm still in communication and connection with them. Uh, I learned a lot, right? It's like life is a gift. Every single breath that I take is not guaranteed. Especially this past pandemic has made that abundantly clear for those who are paying attention. Literally, the very next breath is not guaranteed. And or I could walk outside and get hit by a car, a bus, you name it, right? So, um, his death among others in my life, my own mother and my uncle during COVID, others, my dear friend from childhood, God bless, God rest his soul. So in truth, I don't want people to learn this lesson. And for those of you that are listening, please, I do not wish this upon you at all. May you not know this for long, long ever. Thank you. Right? Like,
Yes,
so I
yes.
want to invite you to listen closely to what I have garnered so that you don't have to walk that exact path. Because what's waiting for you, your lessons are waiting for you, and may they be gentle, right?
Mm,
I wish that anything and everything that is there be gentle. Um, And it can be,
Yeah.
right? And so to me, because I'm so clear that the very next moment is not guaranteed, right? That my life force is the greatest currency of value.
Mm.
Like iPhone, schmyphone, houses, bullshit. Like, come the fuck on. You're not taking that when you die.
Yeah.
You are not taking your investment portfolio when you die. Okay. You are not taking any of that with you. And so to me, the way that I consciously choose to live is that
Mm.
full. I love as much as I can in every single moment because technically I only have this moment. And I'm going to say that again, right? Like I love so fully, like as much as I can in this moment because that's all I have. The moments that have passed are the moments that are past. I can't access them anymore,
Mm.
except as a memory and to use as a reflection, as a catalyst for learning and transformation, right? But it is complete. I cannot live it again. And the moment that is happening later, the future moment, it hasn't happened yet, right? So life is, and if for those of you listening, if you learn nothing else from this conversation, please, right? Life is a right now phenomenon and a right now phenomenon and a right now phenomenon. And that is all we have. And you get to choose what frequency you're going to calibrate your right now to. And actually, I'm gonna bring this in because it's really relevant in speaking to all of this. I was supposed to launch a podcast of my own last year, in February, right about now. And I'm Ukrainian for context. And it was inspired by my mom. And I will launch it. It'll be beautiful. Erica, you'll be a guest. It'll be delicious, right? And why I share all this, and I'll tie it all together because I speak in circles. Um, and then the war started. And I had nothing to give. I was about to launch the podcast and my pleasure course. And I sat there and I had to have some really tough conversations with myself of like, do I not launch any of this? Do I not talk about pleasure? Do I not promote my course when all this insanity is happening? And I sat there and I was like, no, this is when we need it most. This is when we need to put our oxygen mask on first, most, to come back to what's possible for pleasure and possibility in our day-to-day life when everything is burning.
Yes.
Right. And
Yeah.
so, and why that ties in is because the podcast, um, it's based on a question that my mom, who's no longer with us, who now has the best VIP seats ever, looking down,
Yes.
right? Like,
Yes. Mm.
um, it's based on a question that she would always ask me. And so I'll give you the thing for those of you at home listening, wherever you are, please just take a moment to just see what comes up for you. And she said, you can learn a lot about someone, not everything, and a lot about someone in the way that they naturally answer this question. And the question is, life is dot, 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 right? And I'm going to ask it again and give everyone a pause to just see what naturally arises, the first word or words or sentence, how you complete it. So life is dot, dot, dot. Right? And the lens is,
Wow.
so I live my life. Life is a gift. And yet someone else may have it that life is hard.
Yeah.
And that's their lens. And that's valid because it's so present for them and why it ties into, that consciousness connecting to consciousness. It's all a choice. And so the inquiry that I'd love to leave people in is, what are you currently living it as? Life is what? And using that not as a make wrong, you're not doing anything wrong. You're doing the best you can with what you have at the moment, as Maya Angelou said, right? And yet when you know better, you can do better. And so, having known what is, now what do you want? And then play that game. And so to me, that's how I stay connected. The impermanence, because when I tell my clients, like, oh, congratulations, you're gonna die one day, they're like, what the fuck? What the fucking fuck are you talking about, you crazy witch, right? Like, and I'm like, no, like literally, you do all the things, you do all the things, and then you will die. Congratulations, right? Like, but I say that as a celebration and an invitation into allyship with death.
Mm.
And I'm going to say this because it just feels alive and we're going into a deep as fuck, place anyway. Very existential conversation. Um, that I think we should in general have more conversations around because it is sourced in pleasure,
Yes.
right? Because most of us outsource pleasure to
Yes.
the partners, the battery operated boyfriends, the fucking job, and the this and the I will have pleasure when I can do this, and in order to blah blah. Like, come the fuck on, friends. And it's what we do. I'm here to disrupt that and tell you there are no cheese and vibrators in that tunnel. This is what I say to my clients, and I'm going to repeat it again. That tunnel of outsourcing pleasure and, the boyfriend and the job and the this, and I have to have this perfect in order to have pleasure now. There are no cheese and vibrators in that motherfucking tunnel. Okay, friends,
Mm.
put it down. And
Yes.
yet that's not what we're taught, right? We're taught that like healing has to be painful and we have to work super, super hard and it has to be arduous and challenging and all this horrible stuff in order for it to be valid or we are valid. It's like, ugh, no,
Yeah.
thank you. And so, like, to bring it back to consciousness, right? When you have it that death, you get to be in partnership with death, which is my perspective, because our greatest fear, what I've learned, is that we fear being taken without our consent by
Mm.
death, and painfully so. And I'm going to say that again, right? Like that fear, why so many people fear death, and that nervous system imprint is that we're going to be taken without our consent before we're ready, and it's going to be painful. And yet, the game that I would like to invite people to play is if you have it that you get to be in allyship, in partnership with death to bring in consent and choose, letting a part of you that you no longer want to embody die, or a friendship or relationship that is not serving anybody, letting that fall away and consciously co-creating with death, then not only do you not have to live in fear of death in the same way, right? Like there's still something, right? Like don't get me wrong, I don't want to get run over by a car, right? And why I say that is because I know that that is imminent and it is a guarantee and I only have this moment. I bring everything I have to this moment.
Mm.
And I'm going to be very transparent. Am I sometimes a cranky witch? Fuck yeah. I am human. I am not, this like super grounded 24/7 sex shamanic goddess. Like, what the fucking fuck? I'm human. You're human. You're going to be a cranky monster when you're hungry or, haven't had intimacy or touch in a while or frustrated by something. Like, I have that. The difference between me and a lot of other people who are doing the work at different parts of their journey is I have the tools, so I clean it up faster.
Mm.
My awareness is heightened.
Yes.
And then I lean into the tools, I use the goddamn tools, right? I get in communication with the people in my life and I'm like, I'm sorry, that was shit. You didn't deserve that. And I spiraled and that didn't work. And then I clean it up.
Yes.
And that's the thing, right? So to connect to pleasure is at any given moment, also, you can advocate for pleasure. And or that doesn't feel good. Hey, love, can we pause for a second? Can we try this instead? But yet
Mm.
we fear, we embody, God forbid, we say something. And so I would like to give everyone a blanket, you know, permission slip to use your words, right? Advocate for your pleasure, advocate for yourself, for what you need, your desires with grace, right? Like don't be a dick. Don't dump a truck on somebody. That's kind of rude, right? Don't go beep, beep, beep. And they're like, bleh, all this fucking poison on people. That is not going to get you more sex, intimacy, and pleasure.
Yes.
Right? So that was
Yeah.
long-winded, but I hope that that really creates this like full picture of like what it looks like on a day-to-day basis to live in this connection, because there's so many people that talk about it in abstracts and you're like, okay, the fuck do I do that?
Yeah. I have so many fucking thoughts.
Yes,
that was
please.
So beautiful. And I wonder, like, same, but I never articulated it that way. And I never articulated it that way. Like, I can't fucking thank you enough. Boom. And there's something coming up for me around, because, how do I say this? It's no tea, no shade, no judgment. But I never resonated with some pleasure folks, though it's hot. And I'm like, fuck yeah, like celebrating you. That was just like, put on the lipstick and the lingerie. And I'm like, yes, please, of course. But like, I will. But why, what I want to frame for you, and again, like, I will do all of that. That's hot. But what I want to frame that you pulled into the fucking depths of my soul is, if we become friends with the death, we have a relationship with our aliveness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is the gift.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you are so, how do I say? I mean, that's the aliveness, right? And that was the work that you and I really unearthed for a year and a half. Like, being alive, being alive, being alive. And it was with awareness of, this is not guaranteed. This is not guaranteed. And I think I also want to pay mention to, not only is it aliveness, but it's the magic. Thank you, seriously, thank you so much for joining me on today's episode and on this podcast journey. And if you loved what we talked about today, and you know another human who could definitely benefit from what was discussed, I would so appreciate if you would go ahead and share this podcast with them. Don't forget, hit subscribe or follow so you never ever miss an episode. And the great news is, you can always follow me, my work, my blog, my podcast on my website at www.wethelight.org. And hey, remember, life is so much brighter when we shine. I'll see you next time.